All right, welcome to the Get Optimized podcast, and we are into our CDC 2025 preview series where we're going to be joined by some special guests that are going to be hanging out with us during CBC this year, and we're going to be talking all about CBC. So let's actually introduce our guest today. We got Ryan from Apex 360 Group. Ryan, what's up, dude? How are you?
I'm doing good, Chris. Thanks for having me on here.
Oh, dude, thank you, man. I'm excited to hang out with you and your team and everybody at this thing we're doing for CBC, and it's going to be a fun time, man. You got to be pumped too. CBC is like the Super Bowl of this craft beer stuff, right?
I love CBC. It's my fourth time being there. It's my first time exhibiting, so I'm super excited about it.
Oh, dude, us too, man. We haven't been there 4 times. This will be the third time, but first time exhibiting as well. So we'll be rookies together on the
Nice.
exhibiting space. Let's start. Before we jump too far into this, for those folks that don't know who you are and who Apex Group 360 is, tell us about that. Who are you? What's the company all about?
Yeah, I'll go back to me getting into the industry, getting into supply chain and procurement is really my career. It's where my career has gone for the past 16 years. Um, I, f- I kind of I kind of landed in that space accidentally. I went to work for a company about 16 years ago. Started buying nuts and bolts, literally nuts and bolts. And that turned into establishing their entire supply chain and procurement processes from scratch. They had nothing. It was all like, I'm going to jump on Amazon and buy something, or the equivalent of that at the time. So I turned them into a well-oiled machine on the procurement side and purchasing side and saved them a ton of money. That was big, heavy equipment with machinery. I did that for about 3.5 years, left that company and got my first taste into like the packaging space and in the CPG space. Went to work for a nutraceutical company. It was a vitamin company that did all the white label stuff and anything that was private label for every major company out there. So I learned to buy from overseas. I learned all about the packaging and the regulatory behind it. I learned what a certificate of analysis was for the first time. So I learned a ton. I wasn't there for too long, about a year, and then I went to work for Yogi Tea. Again, super regulated. Um, Loved that. Bought from everywhere in the world. Learned international shipping and transit. Really enjoyed that process. And then I went to work for the brewery, and I was at Ninkasi Brewing in Eugene, Oregon for about 6.5 years. I ran all purchasing and procurement when I started. Um, Went from that position to the director of supply chain and ultimately the COO. I took the company through a merger with Wings and Air out of California. The company about doubled in size. There was 8 different breweries under the Ninkasi, under the Great Frontier umbrella. So I managed. I think we oversaw 196 different SKUs across all brewing, across the entire brewing space. So it was a massive undertaking for sure. And then I left that about a year ago, started a company called Procurement Solutions that was in the supply chain, doing consulting in the supply chain and procurement space solely. I did that for about 10 months or so and then realized, hey, people want more than just procurement. They want a full suite of solutions in one place. So Apex Group 360 was formed. There's 9 different consultants working with us right now. They're all consultant based. I have no employees right now. They're all just consultants, and we're all in it together to build each other's companies and our own company, my company, and ultimately the client's brewery or CPG company, whatever it may be. We have everything from early onset formulation, ideation to supply chain operations, marketing. Sales will be added eventually. We've got the data analytics, data visualization, website development. It just keeps going on and on and on. So the motto of the company is one partner, every solution. So you can come to us and get everything you need for your brewery or CPG company in one place.
I'm glad you unpacked that because when you said procurement, I was kind of like, well, I'm kind of layman's on that. I'm like, what does that actually mean? And I think I'm understanding it. Correct me if I'm wrong. That the idea is that you're procuring, compiling or sourcing services and materials and equipment and the resources you need to basically operate and grow and scale all the stuff that you need for running the business. In this case, brewers, right?
Correct, correct. Yeah, on the procurement side, the purchasing, you could say there's a difference between the procurement and purchasing, but I won't get into that level of detail. It's okay. On the purchasing side, it's getting everything the brewery would need, everything the CPG company would need from early creation of the brewery all the way through to running a brewery that's sustainable long term, with growth in mind. So whether it's big heavy equipment, the tanks, the can line, I've purchased the can line, I've purchased the tanks, I've purchased cans in the millions, if not hundreds of millions at this point, from packaging to hops, malt, everything under the sun.
Got it. And I see the benefit there because there's all these different moving parts that you need to run the business, and it's like, man, I just need to go to a place that can give me the right recommendation, has done the work, the shopping for me, essentially, to find the
Exactly.
right folks to work with and the right companies to source from. Makes sense, man. That's rad. So you've been doing that for a little while. You said you start like just really recent, actually, on the Apex Group 360 brand, right?
Yeah, on this one, it's in its infancy still. I'll say that because it's still pretty new. It has been a whirlwind for the past, I think it's been about 6 weeks now since Apex Group 360 kicked off. It has been a lot of conversations, a lot of networking, a lot of brands have come to us and we're talking to them. We've sent proposals out to a couple companies already. So it's in 6 weeks, it's gone really, really good. I was actually on a meeting last night with a lot of the consultants. We meet every other Thursday just to hang out and have a drink or whatever we're doing, and we chat and we talk about what everybody's working on. And anyone you need any help, and we all bounce stuff off each other, and it just works really well. And it's 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 I think it's the calm before the storm. I think we've got a lot of companies that are going to be excited to work with us. We hope they are, and we just want to do best by them. That's our goal.
Excellent. So CBC is going to be a big thing for you guys, kind of busting out in the biggest way possible, on the biggest floor really possible. I mean, this whole thing with CBC is so massive, and you said this is your fourth time going, so
Yes.
you've been around, you've seen this thing in a few different locations. You know what it's like there on the exhibitor floor and in those speaking lounges and stuff, or speaking lounges, centers, whatever. Let's talk about CBC this year. I mean, it's Indianapolis. It looks like it's going to be a pretty good size show per usual. What are you looking forward to? What's on the excitement list for you going into CBC this year?
It's 100% the exhibiting, like being able to have a booth where I can have potential clients or companies that need support come to us and talk to us is it's got me on cloud nine, right? When that opportunity came up, there was no way I was going to say no. I'm so excited about that. I mean, having have walked the show floor for years now, and it's not my first trade show. I've done Supply Side Expo West. I've done them all. I've done a lot, not them all. I've done a lot of them. And in this case, being able to have a location that's almost a destination location with you and all the great companies that are going to be a part of this, like we're creating a destination. And to me, that is beyond exciting. So to have that opportunity, I was never going to say no. So I cannot wait to meet potential clients out there, industry friends that I've known for years and years and years. I'm super excited. I'm counting the days down at this point.
Yeah, man, it's like you got to get hyped especially if you're going to be on the floor and in having a space, and a space like ours. There's going to be a lot going on inside of it, but the energy it takes to just roll through this thing and just talk and have shake hands, forge new relationships, meet up with folks. That's something I talked about with the guys that we did this a few of the other episodes with, was that it's so cool to see some of these people you maybe never met in person. And now here's your chance, and we're the same way. We see clients where it's like, oh yeah, we haven't seen you, but we've been working together for a couple of years. It's like finally we get a chance to do that. And it's all wrapped up into this mega event that is CBC.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait.
So like we mentioned a couple of times here now, you've been multiple times here now. You know, considering kind of the state of the industry, it's kind of a weird spot with craft beer.
Yeah.
The BA came out and said, the industry shrunk a little bit in 2024. Last year in Vegas, the word on the street was that it wasn't as big of a show for CBC. Maybe that was part of the location being a thing. Maybe it was part of the industry being where it was. What do you think is going to be like this year? Do you think Indy's going to be a bigger show, more activity, or is it easier for people to get to? I mean, what do you think the vibe's going to be like this year?
I think it's going to be easier to get to. I mean, I think when you go to Vegas, like you know what you're getting. I think last year in Vegas, and I think if you look back to Nashville was a good example. Even Denver was a good example, where it felt way more. The show felt bigger than Vegas. I think Vegas, when you're there, you're like a walking zombie half the time, and that's how everybody seemed to be. And I think when you go to Vegas, you're not just going for the show, you're going to experience Vegas, right? And I think Indy's a great spot in the beer industry in general. There's so many breweries there, there's co-packers there, there's so much opportunity to go see other people, and the show will be big. I'm actually getting on early on a couple days before the show to go visit some partners and some industry partners that we want to work with potentially, or just talk to and have a conversation with. So I think I think it's going to be bigger this year. I think it's easier to get to being centrally located. I would love to see them do that just in the future and just keep it in the Midwest, keep it to where everyone can come from both sides and you're just easy to get to. I think that's a big plus. I really hope it's big. I hope there's a lot of different companies there. I have an expectation of what people are looking for. I know we can go down that road in a minute, but I think it's going to be a bigger show than we've seen in the past, at least in Vegas for sure.
Yeah, my first one was Nashville, and Nashville felt really big to me, and it
Yes.
also felt like the engagement in the after parties and the networking events and all this stuff was up, right? And it was kind of set up as this, there was a lot more conversations going on. Maybe that was me because it was my first time going and I was like just trying to talk to everybody. In Vegas, it was more Vegas. I grew up here. It's kind of like you go to these parties and stuff, and it's kind of you click out in your little groups and you're trying to look cool. And there's a lot of distractions in Vegas and things to do, and it becomes this more fragmented thing. And I've never been to Indianapolis before, but I hear it's a great craft beer spot, and there's lots of options for that stuff. And I'm kind of expecting more of a Nashville vibe from this. If you
Oh,
conference to conference, right?
yeah. And I am too. I think if it can feel like Denver, because I really enjoyed the Denver one as well. I loved going to Denver. That was a cool city. We had a lot of good times there. There was a lot of industry partners that were there, and the after events you mentioned, those were fantastic. Those are great places to meet everybody and talk and hang out. And the show's good, but the after events or lunch out with people, like when you're in a good place like that, it just opens up the opportunity to meet with people that you wouldn't normally get to connect with.
Yeah, definitely. And thinking about this year too, I'm curious like what the big takeaways are going to be from this year. It's kind of been a little different from year to year. And, now we're kind of in the situation where we've got tariffs happening and we're trying to survive, or a lot of people are trying to survive as just a business right now. Prices are up. Well, costs are up, increasing prices, all this kind of stuff, which maybe feeds into this. I mean, what do you think is going to be what people are talking about or searching for at CBC this year versus previous ones?
So I think there will be less of the big expense purchasing. Like I think people have gone to CBC before to look at can lines or tanks or big heavy equipment that you're going to have in the brewery. I think there may be less of that this year and more of what we're all doing. I think more of the consulting space, especially more marketing. I think any way that these breweries can look to reduce costs, reduce overhead, and increase margin is going to be like the name of the game. I think if I like that we've got the profit and ops is the name of our group there. That's great because I think that is such an important piece to CBC this year is going to be the reducing the costs every way you can with maintaining high quality standards because the last thing you'd ever want a brewery to do is try to reduce costs and reduce their standard in any way. So when it comes to the consulting space, like we're all doing, a lot of us are doing at least, it's going to add immense value, or it could add immense value to these companies because they don't have to add to overhead of labor. It can be an expense as opposed to being a labor cost on the P&L. So I think there's going to be a big adjustment in looking for cost savings and reductions and margin improvements across the board. And I don't know there will be as much breweries there that are there to buy big equipment. I think you'll still see the CFTs, you'll still see the big companies out there, the tanks and stuff. Those will all be there still. I just don't know that it's going to be as much people looking to build out a brewery. But I
Yeah.
think time will tell. I think money's expensive, so not a lot of investments happening just yet.
Yeah, it's a great way to put it. Money is expensive. And you look at specifically some of the macro economic forces and how much steel and aluminum cough it's going to take to build a new brewery and get new equipment. I mean, I'm sure that's what they're going to be talking about, these big dudes. But I very much do agree with you that breweries and brewery ownership leadership, they got to get creative, right? It's kind of what we heard a little bit last year and over the last several months is like, well, we got to have new offerings. And last year it was kind of like, oh, seltzers and NA and that kind of stuff. But now we have THC cannabis stuff being folded in. Like, how could we do sodas? How could we do this different things? How do we make money on that? How do we promote that stuff? How do we position ourselves as a brand that can do all these things? And this isn't stuff that maybe a lot of these brewery folks have ventured into before. So they got to get creative. They got to learn new things. And, there's people here at CBC like us and others as well that can provide the answers to that stuff, which I think your point's right there too, is that folks are going to be looking for solutions on this. And I hope they do come for that, right? I hope that folks decide to come to CBC with that mindset because, if all you think of it is like, yeah, all it is just cans and labels and lines and equipment. It's like, yeah, all that stuff exists, but like, man, there's a ton of great resources and ideas that can come from conversations you're having and watching presentations and that kind of stuff. So I'm pumped for that as well.
I think I think it's the education piece. Just to add to that, I think it's the education piece
Yeah.
that people need to look at what's next on the horizon for them. As you made a good point about the THC and cannabis space and the NA space, whereas a lot of breweries aren't ready for that or set up to do that in any way. So I think you'll see more and more co-packers out there trying to look for opportunities as well. I don't know if they'll be on display, but they'll be there at the show for sure because it's expensive to build a brewery. It's a lot of money. And I work with some clients that are basically a marketing and sales entity and they co-pack. And for them, they always ask, the margin's always a thing. Like, what's the tolling piece so high? It's a lot of money to build a brewery. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot. So I think there will be less and less companies building out as opposed to looking for opportunities to expand their current infrastructure that they have in place.
Yep. I certainly agree. I also think there's still going to be a lot of people that have never been to CBC before, and it's always fun to meet those folks. And it's a mixed bag with these guys, right? And guys and gals and whoever. I'm using the proverbial guys here, but
Gotcha.
you folks that have run breweries for a while, and okay, I'm going to make the journey over here to CBC for the first time, or folks that are trying to get in the industry and they're maybe wanting to start a brewery or wanting to be the head brewer or operations op or whatever, new partners of breweries. The newness of it can be overwhelming. I remember the first time I walked into the expo center at Nashville, I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And you're never going to get to all of it as hard as you try. But still, it's fun to be that and have that energy. I wish I could go back and do it again for the first time.
You got to get out to Expo West one of these years. It's it's
Even
10
crazier.
times it's 10 times the size of CBC.
Where is Expo West?
It's in Anaheim. It was last week. I've been there two or three times from my past, not in the brewing space, but I was at the tea company.
Okay.
It's 10 times the size of CBC.
Oh my God.
It
Anaheim's
takes
not even
it
that
takes
far.
all
I
of
live
three
in
days to
Vegas.
walk
That's
the
easy.
floor. What's
Wow.
that?
I live in Vegas, so Anaheim is
Oh
is
yeah,
just a jaunt over. I should totally make that a thing next year. That'd be fun just to at least see it.
it's a blast. Yeah.
So thinking about the new folks, I mean, if you could give yourself advice, going to CBC for the first time, and it sounds like Denver, right? That was your first one.
Yeah.
What would you say to yourself?
So I would say the first day you're there, just walk the floor. Just walk the floor, pick up some business cards, meet some people, say hi. I wouldn't spend a whole lot of time in meetings the first day. I think if you plan it right and you kind of have an idea of what you're doing, you could walk the floor in a day. And then day two and day three, that's when you have your deep dive conversations. And I think we've talked about that too as a group is on day one, let's not have any chairs. Let's just have tables where we're talking to everybody and it's a round table and we're just chatting and we're going over stuff. And it's not like scheduled meetings. I'd be careful scheduling too many meetings. You want to meet as many people as you can. When you schedule meetings, it kind of locks you into a time frame. So if you're going to schedule it, it's like a 10-minute and I'm out, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
you really want and always have that call to action afterwards. So like if you're meeting with someone, have the follow-up set before you leave the show. Like know what you're going to do afterwards. If you're looking for something very specific in a niche market, you know what you need. Focus on that to start, set up the meetings, and then when you're back home to your brewery, wherever you're at, really have a plan to follow through with that because the show is chaos. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of people. You will lose track of who you've talked to. And it goes for the exhibitors as well. They should, if you're exhibiting for the first time, I would fully expect that I will have a list of follow up afterwards and really focus on that when I get back. But I would say anyone going for the first time, that's a good approach because it doesn't take a super long time to walk the floor and do everything.
Mhm.
It's really day two and day three can be really deep dive into what you're looking for.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And taken in chunks. Yeah, I love that. I have like shop, window shop day one, walk around, make a mental note, make notes. Actually, you're not going to keep track of all this in your mind, especially with all the beer drinking that goes on. Uh, but then, do your strategic, interactions throughout the rest on day two and three. Smart. Man, I wish I had that advice when I went because I kind of just jumped around and you get so excited. You're like, yeah, 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 yeah. And then you're like, oh, there's all this other stuff. And the strategic follow-up process too, I think is key, man. You know, that's hard. That's the hardest part, especially as a vendor. It's like I got to follow up with these people, make sure I stay with them. And it's hard on the the purchasing side too. You're like, oh man, who was that person? Why did I want to buy their stuff? What was I hyped on? What was their key thing? And then you're busy running your operation when you get back because you've been gone for a week or whatever. So it is a doozy of an experience for sure. Quick tangent. I'm curious your thoughts on this because you've done a lot of expos and stuff. What is your take on the physical business card versus the digital scan thing? I have my opinions, but I want you to tell us what you think about that.
That is an amazing question. So I am torn down the middle. I have sitting on my desk, I have a couple of them, right? I've got business cards for sure. I use those a lot more than I use like going and checking emails for contacts. So I definitely will go through that. So I've got cards. I'll give out a card. I also have a QR code on my phone that if somebody just wants to scan a QR code and get a virtual card right to their phone that has website, email, phone, picture, logo, it's got everything on it. So I use that as well, and that's the Blink card thing. If you've ever heard of that, it
Yeah.
works great. It works really, really good. So I think for a show, I'm leaning more towards the cards. I like having the place to put a note on a card if I want to talk to somebody again. If I go and talk to someone, I'm like, oh, I need to follow up with them. I'll write a note on the card or the back of the card. If you have the app, if you have it on your phone and you just get it, I don't know that I've ever had anybody that I've scanned theirs. I've definitely people scan mine. I'm not sure if there's a place to add notes, but I like the physical of holding it and going back and looking at it afterwards. When I get home, I'll organize them by like, this is packaging, this is a vendor I want to talk to, this is the material, this is hops, this is malt, this is a flavor, this is whatever. I'll go through them, and that's how they're laid out in my book. So I can say, okay, the first 25 pages are packaging, second 25 is flavors, third is whatever. So that's how I have it laid out, just so I know what I'm going back to look for. So that's how I
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, man, I see the benefits of both, man. I love the idea of having the digital thing. You don't have to like re-enter it somewhere, and that kind of stuff. But for me, it's like I gotta, get back. I have a task list of people that I want to get back to. And like if you're just stored in my phone, I'm like, wait,
Who
where is
was it?
this? I don't remember that person's name. If
That's
I
a
see
big
the
one.
card, I'm like, oh yeah, that was Ryan. I know exactly who I can organize the card when I get back. I'm sure these digital card systems have gotten better at it. I've used them before too. And it's like, wait, I need something. I also want to follow up with someone. That would be the cool thing is if the digital card could scan and then send them a message saying, hey, we met at this event, or it was nice to meet you. Here's my contact info, BCC, my address. Now I got a record somewhere that I've got this person stored somewhere, but there's pros and cons to both, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about you and your plans for CDC at your guys' booth. What are you guys planning to do? You have any special activations? Anything you're trying to showcase at the event this year?
Yeah, so I think one big thing that we're going to show is we'll have a banner up. I know we're working on the layout still. We'll have a banner up. I think it'll have some detail about what we're working on and what we can offer to the breweries or clients we're working with. It'll also have the logos of a lot of the companies that we're partnered with. So that's one area that we're really trying to expand our network on is the partner companies that we're working with. And at the end of the day, Apex Group 360 was formed to help companies grow, not only the internal consultants, but the clients we're working with. So if we can be out there and we can be talking about Apex Group 360 and having it be a one-stop shop, knowing that the client that we're speaking with is going to be able to have access to this decades worth of experience, like decades worth of experience in all areas of CPG, in all areas of brewing, in beverage packaging. I mean, that is what I want to tell people about. So we'll have like a laptop with like a touch, like we'll be able to show kind of a model of how some partnerships will work. We'll show a model of how Apex Group 360 works, how we onboard, how we talk to clients, how we work with clients, what services we can offer. And the list just goes on and on about what we can do. There really isn't anything at this point that we've come across except for like construction of a brewery that we don't have. But hey, if somebody wanted it, we'd find it. So, and just really talking about the network we have in place. That's the biggest piece is this network of, like I mentioned, the decades worth of experience that we can touch or we can reach back in and go get if somebody needed something.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the biggest area that we want to share is what we're doing and how we do it.
I think it's so important to show that kind of stuff. It's like, what is it like to work with us? And what are the benefits that you're going to receive with working with us? And paint the picture. I think that's a mistake that we've made with our expo booths and me in the past is like, not thinking through that in the conversations you're going to have with somebody. And they're going to ask questions like, so what is it like to work with you? What does the next 6 months look like when we're working together? How much does it cost? Those kind of being prepared to answer that and show it and package that up in a way that's easy to digest. And it sounds like you guys have got that covered. You
It's a
also
work
make
in
me think,
progress.
go ahead, go ahead.
It's a work in progress. We're getting there. We're almost got it covered.
You'll have it covered by the time.
We'll have it covered by the show.
Nice. You make me think though, like, is there a certain person or role that is like ideal for you to talk to, right? Like if someone's listening to this and going, am I the right person, or who on my team should I send to go talk to Ryan and his team? Who is that person, or what role do they exist in?
Yeah, it could be anybody at the brewery. I mean, it depends what you're looking for. It depends where your pain points at. I think the founders and the owners is where we've started with right now. I think if it was an operations person coming to us or a marketing person or a salesperson coming to us being like, here's my pain points. Here's what I'm struggling with. Here's the areas of the business that are not hitting on the mark, right? And or if it's a new brewery or a new company that wants to get started, has already gone and talked to like a co-packer or a flavor house, and they're being told you're not ready yet, we're the ones that can help them get them ready. So
Mm-hmm.
we've told companies out there, hey, if you've got the clients and customers coming to you that you don't have time to deal with, that are just not in your wheelhouse, that are not ready to work with you yet, send them over here. We'll help them get from unprepared, unready to ready. And a lot of companies think they're ready to go, and they may not be. And there's going to be some work involved, and we are the ones that can take them there and get them there. So it could be anybody that's at the brewery that wants some help, that kind of knows the ins and outs of the brewery. A lot of the ones we're working with are smaller, but we are talking to some more established brands as well that have identified the gaps in their processes of what they want to fill, or they've got some innovation coming and they don't have the capacity or bandwidth right now to do a new innovation. So we're the ones that can help them kind of fulfill the void without adding headcount.
Got it. Got it. Flip side of that coin, is there anybody that you're looking for more strategic relationships with? Because I think CBC is a great place for that too, is, B2B kind of situation. Who can we coordinate with, or who do we want to bring in as a potential consultant to be part of our group? Is there anybody you're looking to shake hands with like that at CBC?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've been asked the question of what are you going to do if this kicks off and goes crazy and you don't have enough people? I've been asked that question a couple of times. And like I said earlier, we're in the calm before the storm, and we are just starting to present proposals to clients now. I believe if they all kick off, if multiple kick off at one time, we'd hit capacity pretty quick. So we're starting to develop a network of consultants that we can work with. That there's a lot of overlap already. We have overlap in operations, overlap in supply chain, overlap in marketing, data. We have a company doing finance and a company doing sales, and they're extra companies that are partnering with us. So we've covered a lot of the bases. We're establishing a network that will grow on the website right now, the apexgroup360.com website. There's a services page on there that you can see what we offer. And there's also an about us that has a list of all the people that are working. That will grow over time. People will come and go. They'll get, I mean, we one person doing sales, he got a full-time job. Congratulations, shook his hand, and he was out working with another company. It's great. If that happens, fantastic for them. So consulting isn't for everybody, and the security of a job I get, I totally understand. So I think that the more people we talk to and the bigger the network I can build, really the better. I'm willing to talk to anybody. Like I've heard on podcasts before, people are like, I don't really want to talk to people if it's not going to benefit me. For me, if I can talk to someone, even if it's 15, 20 minutes, they can get out of the network and we can see if we need them in the future. And if we don't, then at least they'll be there if we do. So if I can help another company grow, great.
I think that, man, like anybody who's not willing to have a good conversation with somebody, like, not cool, right? I think there's so much value, even if it's like, hey, man, we can't work together or we're not a good fit or whatever from a professional perspective. Like, hey, dude, let's have a good convo. You never know what could happen and the impression that you leave on somebody and what that could turn into in the future. Even if it's just your reputation and saying, oh, yeah, that Ryan guy's a dick. Don't talk to him. You don't want that, right? So,
I don't want
um,
that.
yeah,
I've
having good
met some,
conversations is
I've met
important.
some,
Absolutely.
I've met some amazing people this last year going on this journey of consulting. I've met people that I now consider for friends, right? And when I started this, like in the industry, I had the vendor contacts and all that, and I've been doing it for a long time. But now these industry peers and partners that I'm working with, that has been probably the best part of this entire thing, is getting to meet people and talk to them and explore what they're working on and what their journey looks like and how I can help and how they can help us. And it's just it's a mutual area of improvement for both of us. And I think you can always improve everything you're doing, process, people, personal, whatever. So I think it's talking to everybody I can, and my time isn't any more valuable than anybody else's. So if I can spend time talking to them, I love it.
Love it, dude. Love the energy, man. And as we kind of get close to wrapping up this conversation, I'm sure there'll be many more as we hang out together in Indianapolis. For those folks that maybe want to get in contact with you before the show, maybe schedule a meeting or get in touch and plan some stuff, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you or your company, Apex Group 360?
Yeah, you can visit the website, apexgroup360.com. You can email me. It's just Ryan at apexgroup360.com. On the website, it has a form that you can contact us as well. I think my phone number is on there too, so you can give me a call. We can set something up. Always willing to talk to anybody. And like I said a second ago, just I really am passionate about what I do, and I'm passionate about what this company can do in the future for all these brands out there and help them grow and help them succeed. in a way that they may not be able to do now because it's tough adding employees and headcount, and you could have like that turnkey solution tomorrow if you wanted it. So we're ready to go when you are.
Dude, I can feel the sincerity in what you're saying, and you seem like a very genuine person, and you're really in it to try to help folks, and that bleeds through with everything you're saying and the energy you're bringing, man. So I totally see that. I hope people do connect with you. I can't wait to hang out in Indianapolis and talk more shop. For those of you guys listening, make sure to check out our booth. It's number 1125. You're going to see it as Beverage Federation on the map. It's we're calling it the Profit and Ops Center, and we're gonna have folks like Ryan and me and a few others in that group come hang out with us, get a T-shirt, get some stuff, get some information, and we'll all hang out together. Thanks for listening, Brian. Thank you so much for joining us, man. We'll see you in a few weeks, I guess, maybe a month or so.
This is a blast, Chris. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem, buddy. See ya.